Hey there, I'm here to share my thoughts and opinions on the two most popular collected edition trade paperback comics from the big two, Marvel and DC, that released last week. So, the first one from Marvel is Fantastic Four, The Impossible is Probable, and that collects issues 12 to 17. So, total of 6 issues. The header on the back says The Fantastic Four meets the Jurassic Four. So, they want to call your attention to that. But there are several other things that happen here. So the Jurassic Four and all the other Jurassic superheroes are included in the first 2 issues. And I really enjoyed the first one. Has a lot of visual variety and a lot of just comic book insanity and classic Fantastic Four shenanigans, I guess you would call it. And this storyline is a prime example of why I enjoy the trade paperbacks, because T-Rex Doom shows up at the very end of that first comic, and I'm interested to see what happens next. So instead of waiting a month to see what happens next, I just turn a page and continue. And that second issue was a pleasing conclusion to that little saga. I don't know how long it ran because I didn't read the previous issue, but yeah, these two were fun. They were just plain fun, and definitely a all ages kind of thing. I think adults could enjoy it, but kids would enjoy it too. And this whole comic feels like a PG-rated TV show, an animated TV show, because the characters are kind of slightly exaggerated, a little bit cartoony looking, but not in a way that feels overly juvenile. So, pretty good stuff. Moving on to the third issue, which will be number 14, and that starts the AI chapter, and where there's a guy doing basically Pokemon Go, rewarding members of an app for doing real world tasks. He gives them gems in the app, and yeah, very much again a classic Fantastic Four kind of addressing current affairs with AI on the rise and whatnot, and turning that up to an 11 and making it kind of a fictitious, hyper stylized reality situation. But it was pretty well thought out for a comic book and believable enough, entertaining. That was just the beginning of that one. Number 15 continues that storyline. They call it the China Brain. And it was entertaining. It didn't have quite as much like exciting visuals, because it was like, how do you do that with AI? But it was an enjoyable enough storyline. And number 16 takes us on kind of a, almost feels like a side quest story with the kids and them getting acquainted to a new school and doing a wild science project, and that was pretty fun. And it kept having twists and turns. When you think they're at the end, something else comes up, and yeah. So that was a one-off. And then number 17 takes us to a time traveling kind of deal. And Kang the Conqueror shows up and causes some mischief, and that was enjoyable because it was kind of one thing after another where it's like, twist! And it's like, yeah, twist again! And it keeps bouncing back and forth and hopping around with the time travel and stuff. It was engaging, and they actually packed a good amount of content in there for a single issue. So that was fun. And that was it. That was 6 issues. So yeah, this will be recommended for all ages, and this one I felt was worthwhile. I enjoyed it. Rated Teen Plus. So yeah, recommended. Next we have the number 1 most popular DC title from last week, which is Titans Out of the Shadows. Collecting the first 5 issues of the Dawn of DC Titans series. No longer Teen Titans, but adults at this point. And this one was a lot more congruent. All 5 of them flowed together and weren't as distinguished from each other as the Fantastic Four collection. The art was more realistic. The pages were not glossy, which I kind of enjoy because you don't have to like tilt it as much to see everything. But yeah, I like the art style, and the story was enjoyable. I could have used just a smidge more. If they had just a little more going on, a little less simple, would have been good. But the first issue had an unexpected kaiju situation with a giant monkey and Beast Boy turning into a giant alien Godzilla fighting. So that was fun. And moving on to issue 2, we had a twist where the Flash had died in the first one. Spoiler alert. And then he shows up in the second one, and it's revealed that that dead Flash is a Flash from the future, and they have to save the Flash in the present, and there's always a way out, isn't there? But yeah, that was pretty interesting, and they were starting to really get the story rolling. I was impressed in particular with one image of a burning forest where it was just one image that kind of stretched across the top of 2 pages, and it just looked big, and it looked epic, and it looked kind of cinematic, so they did well with that. They did well with all of it. The art's really good. So, moving through that one, we had one thing after another, and kind of set up a new twist there at the end with the Church of Blood and the leader of the church, Brother Eternity. So we kind of move into that portion of the story with this whole cult situation. So the third issue was interesting, a little bit creepy, with some of this cult stuff going on. Not bad. Pretty decent stuff. Continuing. And then on to the next one. This must be number 4. We've got some new developments. Kind of moving along. Yep. Titan's doing Titany things. Interesting parasite introduced. Decent. Moving just a little slow. Number 5, we get the conclusion to all this stuff, so it wraps up pretty satisfyingly, all things considered. Yeah, so there was a good variety of colors, and I really liked the inking. It didn't feel like it was overdone or underdone. It was like kind of right on. And then Swamp Thing shows up there in the 5th one, and I like that. Swamp Thing's pretty cool. Some of his powers and abilities, I just like the way he looks. So yeah, that was pretty good. And definitely more to come, isn't there always? But yeah, Titans. Pretty good stuff, but of those 2, my favorite would hands down be the Fantastic Four. I really got a bigger kick out of that one. But we'll see where the future leads for both of those series. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think.